Chapter 191. Outside Mo City, the sun hung high in the sky. Below, the members of the Mo Thai mercenary group were still diligently searching for traces. Big brother, have you noticed that it seems not even a shadow of the Xianxia mercenary group has been seen these past few days? Standing on a sand dune, Xiaoli swept his gaze around. After a long while, he slightly furrowed his brow and said to Xiao Ding, "Haha, not only here. Even in Mo City, the number of people from the Xianxia mercenary group has decreased significantly. Furthermore, according to my intelligence, that fellow Mo Xing seemed to have died last night." However, Xiao Luo is surprisingly calm, showing no anger, as if he knows nothing about it. A hint of a smile flashed in Xiao Ding's eyes, and he said with a smile, "This little Yanzi is becoming more and more unfathomable. Treating the Xianxia mercenary group like that, yet Xiao Luo doesn't even dare to fart. TSK. What kind of strength does this require? I really don't know how he did it. It is indeed somewhat speechless. Alas, after a brief few years of not seeing him, this little fellow is becoming more and more mysterious." Xiaoli nodded and said with a bitter chuckle. Xiao Ding chuckled, turned his head, and his gaze swept toward a resting spot on a sand dune not far away. There, a young man was not taking shelter in a tent to avoid the sun, but was instead sunbathing, staring intently at the scorching sun. He sat cross-legged on the burning hot sand grains, slowly absorbing the dense fire-attribute energy around him. Sweat continuously flowed down from his forehead like water, completely soaking his clothes. Although his talent was astonishing when he was young, that also made him lack some perseverance and tenacity. I think that 3 years is a good for nothing, although he had to endure all the contempt and ridicule, looking at it from a distance without experiencing those things, how could he enter the ranks of the strong? At least he wouldn't have the determined will to personally come to the Tagar Desert for arduous cultivation, as he is doing today. Looking at the young man who seemed not to waste a single second of time, Xiao Ding lightly sighed, and said with emotion, Hearing this, Xiaoli also nodded with full agreement. To become a true strong expert, talent is certainly important, but without tenacious perseverance, the final achievement cannot reach the peak. The Dochi continent is vast, and there are many geniuses, but the peak strong experts can only be counted on one's fingers. Therefore, that period of being a good-for-nothing back then will become increasingly clear in its impact on his path to becoming a strong expert in the future. Perhaps by then, he will understand that the 3 years as a good-for-nothing were not only a setback but also a key factor that tempered him for life. Group Leader. Team 3 seems to have discovered traces of a passage. Just as the two brothers Xiao Ding were sighing with emotion, a figure suddenly ran over from afar, shouting excitedly, "Discovered it!" Hearing this sound, Xiao Ding and Xiao Li's faces were startled. A look of ecstasy immediately arose on their faces. They glanced at each other, and then shifted their gaze to the sand dune, only to see that Xiao Yan had also opened his eyes at this moment, his face showing surprise, joy and fear. Hearing the sound, Xiao Yan was slightly stunned for a moment, then quickly withdrew from the cultivation state. He dusted off the yellow sand on his body, and hurriedly rushed toward the approaching figure to inquire, "Discovered the passage?" Heh. It seems we've discovered traces. Judging by our experience, it's very likely a hidden passage beneath the sand. The mercenary who ran over grinned and said, "Good." Xiao Yan clapped his hands in both joy and fear. He couldn't help but urge, "Let's go. Quickly lead me to see." "All right." The mercenary quickly glanced at Xiao Ding and Xiao Li, then quickly turned around and led the way. Following the mercenary's lead for about a few minutes, they saw a crowd gathered around a sunken area, whispering and discussing. "Move aside. Move aside." The leading mercenary shouted, pushing the surrounding people aside to create a path. Xiao Yan walked through the path, and was somewhat pleased and frightened. He discovered that a half-meter-wide hole had been dug out by the mercenaries in the sunken area. His eyes glanced into the hole, and he only saw a pitch-black darkness. Furthermore, a faint heat was rising from it. "Is this the place?" Xiao Yan pointed at the black hole and asked. "Yes." The mouth of the hole was originally blocked by yellow sand. If not for Qinglin sensing a slight unusual aura here, it would have been truly difficult for us to discover it. A mercenary laughed loudly in reply. Hearing this, Xiao Yan's eyes glanced toward Qinglin on the opposite side. He found that the little girl was covered in yellow sand at this moment, but her delicate small face was filled with a look of joy. Sensing Xiao Yan's gaze, Qinglin secretly peeked at him. A hint of shyness appeared on her small face, and she then opened her beautiful eyes wide toward him. "Haha, little girl, well done." Xiao Yan gave Qinglin a thumbs up. Seeing the little girl's brilliant smile, Xiao Yan's face softened into a smile. He slowly stepped toward the pitch-black hole. His hand took a moonlight stone and tossed it into the hole. The moonlight stone emitted a faint light, tumbled a few times, and then gradually disappeared. Watching the moonlight stone quickly disappear, Xiao Yan frowned and said softly, "It seems this passage is not straight. We had people investigate it earlier." Xiao Yan furrowed his brow in distress. "Do you need me to send people down to investigate?" Xiao Ding's laugh came from behind. Turning around, Xiao Yan looked at Xiao Ding and Xiao Li and shook his head. "I don't know if there are any dangers below. The Mo Tai mercenary group has already spent so much manpower helping me search. I am very satisfied. If I let them go into search again, and something unexpected happens causing them harm, I would regret it immensely." "Haha, little brother Xiao Yan, you don't need to worry. Our Mo Tai mercenary group does not have people who fear death." The surrounding Mo Tai mercenary group members laughed loudly in response. "How about this? I will select 10 people with decent strength, and we will go down together to take a look. After all, we are not at ease letting you go down alone. If something were to happen to you, I'm sure father would rush here from Wuten City and tear us apart." Xiao Ding pondered for a moment and said with a light smile. Hearing this, Xiao Yan hesitated for a while, and could only helplessly nod. After a brief silence, he said in a deep voice, "However, if any incident occurs down there, I hope you brothers can quickly lead the others to retreat first. As for my safety, you don't need to worry." Looking at Xiao Yan's solemn expression, Xiao Ding and Xiao Li exchanged glances and lightly nodded. After Xiao Yan resolved the Shaji mercenary group issue last night, they had no doubts about his strength. "Young master, the passage below is hiding a slight aura of the person who came half a year ago. I think if you bring me along, we should be able to find the correct passage." Just as Xiao Yan was about to take action, Qinglin's voice rang out, filling him with immense joy and fear. "Really?" Quickly turning around, Xiao Yan looked at the lovely doll-like girl and said excitedly, gently covering her mouth with a smile. Qinglin slightly nodded. "Little girl is indeed useful, haha." Walking over to the hole, Xiao Yan patted Qinglin's small head, and looked at Xiao Ding and Xiao Li with a light smile. "If that's the case, let's start." "Haha, good." Xiao Ding nodded with a smile. His gaze swept around, and then he pointed out a few names, and instructed the rest of the people in a deep voice. "After we enter, reinforce the surrounding defenses. Absolutely do not let anyone interfere. This layer of sand is not very firm. If someone is careless and causes the sand layer to collapse, it will likely bury everyone inside. Group leader, don't worry. During this time, if anyone dares to enter this area, no matter who he is, we will only resort to ruthless force." Hearing Xiao Ding's order, the surrounding Mo Thai mercenary group members immediately responded with fierce expressions. Second brother, after we go down, we need someone up here to command. If there's no one in command, I'm very uneasy. After instructing everyone, Xiao Ding still felt uneasy, and once again leaned over to Xiaoli. Hearing this, Xiaoli, who was originally preparing to follow, could only helplessly nod. After everything was properly instructed, Xiao Ding then took a rope, checked its sturdiness, and tied it to a wooden stake. At the same time, he held the other end and walked into the hole. Source of the story, Tryon Full. This passage is not too steep. This rope is only for use in case someone down below calls for us to quickly pull them out. Clapping his hands, Xiao Ding said with a chuckle. Seeing that even this matter had been properly prepared by Xiao Ding, Xiao Yan could only smile wryly. He led the group into the black hole, waving at Qing Lin with one hand. Seeing Xiao Yan's gesture, Qing Lin quickly ran over. Her blue-green eyes stared intently at Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan's eyes briefly swept over her captivating pupils. He sighed in his heart again, then reached out and pulled Qing Lin into his arms, and said with a smile, I'm counting on you to guide the way. Pulled into Xiao Yan's embrace, Qing Lin's small face gradually blushed and she gently nodded. Heh, everyone, let's go. Gently chuckling, Xiao Yan nodded to Xiao Ding, then took hold of the rope, and excitedly entered the pitch-black hole. Heavenly flame, is it really below? I hope it won't disappoint me. His body rapidly slid down the passage. Xiao Yan tightly held Qing Lin in his arms, and muttered softly. In the dark passage. Xiao Yan held Qing Lin tightly in his arms. The two relied on the slope of the passage, continuously sliding down. Qing Lin's small hand held a moonlight stone. The faint light emitted from it allowed Xiao Yan to clearly distinguish whether there were any obstacles ahead. Not far behind the two, more than 10 figures followed closely. After sliding down for a while, Xiao Yan's eyes swept over the walls on both sides of the passage. After a moment, he was slightly surprised to discover that this passage was extremely smooth. There were almost no protruding stones from within. It looked as if it had been carved out by an extremely large cylindrical energy column pressed deep into the ground. After nearly 2 to 3 minutes of sliding down, Xiao Yan saw the bottom of the passage. His feet slightly bent. A moment later, a small sound rang out. His body landed, his figure slightly hunched to reduce the impact force. After landing, Xiao Yan released Qing Lin from his embrace. He pulled her forward a few steps. His gaze swept over the direction ahead. He indeed found 10 passages, pitch black like ink. Shaking his head, Xiao Yan smiled toward Qing Lin and asked. Try to sense it. If we go through each one sequentially, it will take several days to complete. Gently nodding, Qing Lin's small hand held Xiao Yan. Her eyes slightly blinked, only to see that around her blue-green pupils, 3 tiny blue-green dots quietly appeared. Because the passage was pitch black, even Xiao Yan did not notice the change in Qing Lin's eyes. Qing Lin slowly closed her eyes to sense the aura in the passages. The surrounding quietness was suddenly broken by some sounds. Xiao Yan knew that Xiao Ding and the others had arrived. Slightly turning his head, he raised his hand to signal Xiao Ding's group to remain silent, and pointed at Qing Lin, who had her eyes tightly closed. Seeing Xiao Yan's gesture, Xiao Ding nodded. He also signaled the people around him, causing some of them to swallow their intended words. Clenching the rope in his hand, Xiao Ding and the Mo Thai mercenary group members slowly drew their weapons, then gently stood around Qing Lin, their eyes constantly sweeping around. The silence only lasted for a moment. Qing Lin finally opened her blue-green eyes. Her hand pointed to a passage on the left and she said in a soft voice, "Young master, Although there are traces of aura left in a few other passages, the aura in this passage is the most concentrated. It seems that the person stayed here the longest half a year ago. Hearing this, Xiaoyan's eyes swept toward that pitch-black passage. The passage was clearly very long. Staring at it for a long time only revealed a thick patch of blackness. Seeing this situation, Xiaoyan couldn't help but slightly frown. Turning his head, Xiaoyan glanced at Xiaoding. He gently breathed a sigh of relief. Just as he was about to lead the way, he was suddenly stopped by Xiaoding. Wait. Xiaoding slightly shook his head toward Xiaoyan. Then he turned his head and looked at a burly man, saying, Han Mo. Try to go in and investigate this passage to see if there is anything special. Hearing this, the big man named Han Mo nodded. He stepped forward to the passage, then lay down, plunging his hands deep into the sand. What is this? Looking at Han Mo's peculiar movement, Xiaoyan couldn't help but be surprised. Han Mo's attribute is a variant of the earth element. Therefore, in the desert, he can use the sand grains to sense the hidden auras of others. Xiaoding explained. In this unknown area, we must be careful with everything. Running around randomly is not a wise move. Ha ha. The Mo Thai mercenary group unexpectedly has so many unique individuals. This kind of teamwork is clearly much better than me being alone. Xiaoyan smiled and said with some emotion. Just a few techniques for self-preservation. Xiaoding casually shook his head. He looked at the big man who had finished his investigation and asked, How is it? I couldn't find anything. Han Mo frowned and shook his head. I investigated within a range of 500 meters, and still didn't find any other aura. But when I was preparing to continue investigating, I found that the deeper I went, the earth attribute energy completely vanished. It was replaced by an extremely strong fire attribute energy. In that environment, my detection was completely useless. Earth attribute energy vanished. Hearing this, Xiaoyan and Xiaoding were both surprised. This place was deep within the desert. It should have been where the earth attribute energy was the densest. How could it completely vanish? It seems a bit strange, Xiaoyan quietly muttered. The appearance of a hot fire flame in the dark passage indicated a very high possibility of a heavenly flame appearing. For Xiaoyan, who was desperately searching for the heavenly flame, this was undoubtedly extremely good news. Looking at Xiaoyan's appearance, Xiaoding shook his head. He wanted to advise him to be careful, but he could only swallow his words. Let's go. If we find any problem, I suggest we retreat first and then discuss it further. After all, we already know the location of this place. As long as we have some time, we should be able to achieve our goal. Xiaoding said in a deep voice. Xiaoyan smiled. His hand gently stroked the black heavy ruler on his back. He pulled Qinglin behind him, and then led the way into the dark passage. You are reading the story taken from the .com. Walking into that passage, Xiaoyan felt a chill run down his spine. He licked his lips. His eyes narrowed, sweeping across the passage. His finger took a qi recovery pill from his storage ring, and popped it into his mouth. This kind of action was almost Xiaoyan's habit before doing anything. After all, one never knew when dou qi might be the deciding factor between life and death. Remember, every 50 meters, place a moonlight stone on the wall. Hearing Xiaoding quietly instructing the members of the Mo Thai mercenary group behind him, Xiaoyan couldn't help but admire him. His big brother truly worked meticulously, not letting any small detail slip from his grasp. More than 10 figures slowly walked in the pitch-dark passage, illuminated by the light of the moonlight stones. Because they didn't know what exactly would happen, everyone maintained silence as they walked. Aside from the shuffling sound of footsteps, it was almost completely silent. In the pitch-dark passage, there seemed to be no concept of time. Everyone walked forward somewhat stiffly, and the passage seemed to be endless, the end never visible. This kind of situation was like walking toward the center of the earth. The deeper they penetrated, Xiaoyan suddenly felt that the cold air surrounding them earlier had dissipated. It was replaced by a faint heat. Sensing this change, Xiaoyan stopped his footsteps. He turned his head to look at Xiao Ding's group. Seeing the look of surprise on their faces, he lightly licked his mouth and said in a low voice, "It turns out that the earth element energy didn't disappear. It's because the fire attribute energy is too dense, suppressing the earth attribute energy, making it difficult for Han Mo to detect. The fire attribute energy is already so dense just after entering. How terrifying will it be if we continue to go down? Is there really a heavenly flame down below?" Xiao Ding said with some shock. Xiaoyan pursed his lips. His eyes blazed with desire. Heavenly flame, ah. Since cultivating the flame mantra, it was the most desired rare treasure of the heavens and earth for him. Now that it appeared in front of him, this sudden rush of happiness almost made Xiaoyan's body tremble with excitement. "Let's go. Continue to go down. Everyone, if you can't endure the fire attribute, you should stop. Otherwise, continuing to go down, your body might spontaneously combust." Xiaoyan took a deep breath, turned around and said solemnly. Looking at Xiaoyan's focused expression, everyone did not dare to delay and quickly nodded. "Qinglin, if you feel you can't bear it, you must tell me immediately, understand?" Xiaoyan said to Qinglin in a deep voice. Obediently nodding. Looking at the expression on Qinglin's small face, it seemed that she was not affected by the surrounding fiery hot fire attribute energy. After properly instructing them, Xiaoyan tightly clenched his fist, then quickly walked deeper into the passage. The deeper they went, the denser the fire attribute became. A few mercenaries with weaker strength had already begun to retreat out of helplessness. Although some people retreated, the journey continued. In the end, only Xiaoyan, Xiao Ding, and Qinglin continued to descend. Everyone else, unable to endure the overly strong fire attribute energy, had completely withdrawn. Xiaoyan's face became increasingly solemn, but beneath the solemnity, there was still a faint look of ecstatic joy. This was because he felt that the circulation route of the flame mantra in his body, even though he was not using it, had automatically started, pulling the purple flame do qi to circulate rapidly. This had never happened since he began cultivating. Almost there. After turning a corner, a red light appeared at the end of the passage not far away. Xiaoyan's body trembled with excitement. He quickly wiped the sweat from his face. His voice was hoarse and dry as he spoke. For the final segment of the journey, the speed of the three people became even faster. They quickly traversed this short distance, reaching the end of the passage. Standing at the end of the passage, the three people looked with shock at the fiery red world before them. Chapter 193. Inside the enormous underground cavern, the fiery red magma flowed slowly. Occasionally, huge bubbles would rise from the magma, but after a moment, a small explosion would sound, and the magma would shoot out, sparkling brilliantly like red fireworks. Standing at the end of the small tunnel, the three of them looked at this seemingly boundless world of molten rock. Besides feeling shaken, they all involuntarily swallowed a mouthful of saliva. "I never thought there would be such a terrifying place under the ground outside Mo City." Xiao Ding, his body covered in a layer of emerald green light, wiped the sweat from his face and exclaimed in fear. Indeed, a massive underground world of magma. Xiaoyan's body was also enveloped in a layer of do qi, but the extremely high surrounding temperature still made his whole body feel feverish. How are we supposed to proceed? There's no path left here. Furthermore, I cultivate a wood attribute cultivation method, which is completely counteracted by the fire attribute. If I wasn't a 5-star Dou master, I wouldn't have even made it this far. This is my limit, Xiao Ding said to Xiao Yan with a wry smile. Xiao Yan nodded. If he wasn't of the fire attribute himself, he probably wouldn't have been able to withstand the high temperature, and would have retreated by now. Moreover, he noticed that the fire attribute energy here was much more volatile than in the tunnel. Hu. Lightly exhaling, Xiao Yan looked down at Qing Lin, Tan Lan, and couldn't help but be a little surprised. She seemed to be more comfortable here than he was. One must remember that Qing Lin didn't possess Dou Qi. After composing himself, Xiao Yan stared intently at Qing Lin, observing that a current of cold energy seemed to be constantly releasing from within her body. It was thanks to this energy that Qing Lin was able to follow them to the end of the tunnel. This little girl is indeed somewhat unusual. Is it because of the snake people bloodline within her? But even an ordinary snake person would only scream and retreat from a place like this. How can this be? Xiao Yan's eyebrows slightly furrowed, and he felt somewhat puzzled. Inwardly, what do you plan to do now? Xiao Ding looked at the swirling magma world and tilted his head to ask. I think I'll go in and take a look, Xiao Yan pondered for a moment and said softly. Go in. Enter this world of magma. There's no path here. How can you cross it? Hearing this, Xiao Ding's expression slightly changed, and he scolded softly. It's naturally difficult to walk across. The temperature here can even melt steel, let alone me. Xiao Yan laughed and shook his head. He took the heavy Xian ruler from his back and put it into his storage ring. His body trembled slightly, and the violet cloud wings suddenly shot out from his back. This is... Looking at the two wings suddenly extending from Xiao Yan's back, Xiao Ding's pupils contracted. After a moment of shock, he said, Dou Qi transformation wings. Dou Wang Dou King. How is this possible? Even though Xiao Ding was very confident in Xiao Yan's cultivation talent. If anyone told him that Xiao Yan, at only 20 years old, had become a Dou Wang powerhouse, Xiao Ding would absolutely not believe it. One must know that the number of Dou Wangs in the entire Jia Ma Empire did not exceed 20. Which one of them was not a powerhouse renowned in their region? Yet, he had never heard of anyone achieving that feat at the age of 20. Looking at Xiao Ding's shocked expression, Xiao Yan smiled faintly and shook his head. He gently stroked the purple-violet cloud wings and said, This is not Dou Qi transformation wings. It's just a rare type of flying Dou skill. Its flight speed is nowhere near that of genuinely condensed Dou Qi wings, but it can still fly. Hearing Xiao Yan's explanation, Xiao Ding finally let out a sigh of relief. He looked at Xiao Yan with a somewhat strange gaze and said, This little fellow, just how many secrets does he hide? Shaking his head with a smile, Xiao Yan changed the subject, I'll go in alone. To check. Big brother, you take Qing Lin and return the way we came. Wait. Although you have the two wings to help you, the temperature inside the underground cavern is extremely terrifying. With your current strength, how long can you stay in there? Xiao Ding hastily reached out to stop Xiao Yan, saying cautiously. Trust me. Nothing will happen. Xiao Yan said with a light smile. Frowning, Xiao Ding stared intently at Xiao Yan for a long while, then helplessly nodded and said, Be careful. If anything goes wrong, you must come out immediately. Understood. Smiling and nodding, Xiao Yan was about to turn to act when a small, cold hand suddenly tugged at him. Young master, wait. Something seems to be hidden inside the magma. Qing Lin tightly grasped Xiao Yan, her emerald green eyes looking at the vast magma, and she said urgently. Ha! Hearing this, Xiao Yan and Xiao Ding were startled. Their eyes quickly scanned the magma pool. But they didn't find anything other than a few large rocks. Qing Lin, what did you discover? In this dangerous place, even with Yao Lao protecting him, Xiao Yan didn't dare to be overly careless. He immediately asked seriously. Inside the magma, something seems to exist. I can feel a slight breath of it. It's very strong. Qing Lin's eyes stared intently at the continuously swirling magma. A faint green light flashed in her emerald-green pupils, as if seeing through all the obstacles of the magma to whatever strange things were hidden beneath. Is that thing alive? Xiao Yan's face was startled. Something alive in this temperature that could melt steel. It truly made Xiao Yan incredulous. Yes. Could it be the thing you sensed half a year ago? Xiao Ding slightly frowned, looking at the swirling bubbles in the magma, and asked in a deep voice. No, that presence is much stronger than it. Qing Lin shook her head and said. Its strength is a bit stronger than the Shaji mercenary group's Luobu. Qing Lin gestured with her hands, speaking softly. She lived in Mo City, and the strongest person she had seen was the great Do Master Luobu, so she could only use him for comparison. A bit stronger than Luobu. Xiao Yan murmured the phrase. The bit seemed quite heavy. From Qing Lin's words, Xiao Yan could barely guess that the creature hidden within the magma was likely a Douling-level creature, according to her estimation. Of course, this was only Xiao Yan's conjecture. He himself wasn't sure what it truly was. If such a creature truly lived here, given the conditions of this place, it was probably not weaker than a Do Wang. Who? Lightly breathing out, Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes. Pondering for a moment, he helplessly shook his head and said in a deep voice, no matter what is in here, I must go in and see. Perhaps the thing I need is under the magma. Big brother, you quickly take Qing Lin up. I'll go and try. Turning around, Xiao Yan instructed Xiao Ding, then slowly walked closer to the magma edge. His wings spread out, and his body floated about 10 meters above the magma surface. Seeing Xiao Yan fly into the air, Xiao Ding could only nod helplessly. However, he was still worried and didn't immediately leave. He pulled Qing Lin back toward the tunnel, his gaze fixed intently on Xiao Yan's body floating midair. Xiao Yan slowly flew over the magma surface. His violet flame Do Qi completely enveloped and protected his body. His soul perception also entered his body, carefully scanning the surroundings. It seemed the creature hidden inside, as Qing Lin mentioned, put no small pressure on Xiao Yan. In this harsh environment, he had no choice but to focus all his attention and be ready to cope with any potential danger. Inside the underground cavern, the temperature was terrifyingly high. Even though Xiao Yan was of the fire attribute, and had the protection of violet flame Do Qi, the mist created by the rising bubbles contained a type of fire poison. Therefore, even though he had swallowed an antidote pill, Xiao Yan dared not breathe freely, only carefully inhaling a small amount of air when he couldn't hold it any longer. Source: https://truyenful.vn. Even though Xiao Yan only absorbed a tiny amount of air each time, the poison entering his body still made him feel a little dizzy. If he hadn't already taken an antidote pill, he probably wouldn't have been able to hold on, let alone think of entering the magma area. Because of the many obstacles, Xiao Yan dared not fly at full speed, only slowly gliding over the magma surface. Naturally, he didn't dare make any sound during flight, fearing he might attract the attack of the creature living in the magma. Flying midair, Xiao Yan felt even more the immensity of this underground cavern. The magma around was almost pooled into a huge lake. Occasionally, a column of magma would suddenly shoot up, startling Xiao Yan flying above it. The world of magma in the underground cavern was also a world of death. Xiaoyan flew over the magma lake, feeling fear with every segment of flight. If his douqi were to suddenly disappear now, even his bones wouldn't remain. Flying over the magma, Xiaoyan's skin was faintly flushed red. His outer clothes were dried to the extreme. If even a small spark touched them now, they would probably instantly ignite. After flying for another distance, Xiaoyan turned his head and noticed the two small figures at the entrance of the small tunnel, watching him intently. Looking at the two figures, Xiaoyan helplessly shook his head. Just as he was about to wave to signal that he was all right, Qinglin's voice, tinged with sharpness, suddenly rang out, "Young master, it's following you. Come back quickly." Hearing this, Xiaoyan's scalp tingled. His body, without any hesitation, desperately rushed toward the tunnel entrance. No sooner had Xiaoyan's body moved than a rumbling sound suddenly arose from the calm magma below. Countless streams of magma shot up in an instant. Magma sprayed into the sky, and a massive creature suddenly leaped out from the magma, charging like lightning toward the fleeing Xiaoyan to devour him. The mysterious creature, breaking through the rock, let out a sharp cry, shooting toward Xiaoyan midair. It violently ripped apart the surface of the calm magma lake. Columns of fire shot up high. Mid-air, Xiaoyan's wings vibrated. The sudden explosion of the magma lake made Xiaoyan's scalp tingle. Clenching his teeth, he desperately fled. Although the violet cloud wings aided him, Xiaoyan's speed was extremely fast, but the mysterious creature was definitely no slower than him. With a roar, its colossal body, surprisingly nimble despite its size, gradually caught up to Xiaoyan. Its fierce, crimson mouth shot out like a sharp blade. "Young master, be careful. It's right behind you." From the distant tunnel, looking at the huge creature about to catch up to Xiaoyan, Qinglin's small face cried out in panic. On the side, Xiao Ding's face was also filled with worry. He wanted to rush over to help, but he fundamentally couldn't cross the distance. So he could only watch. Xiaoyan, flying rapidly, heard Qinglin's sharp cry. His entire body was tense. At the same time, a hot force began to press close. He lightly swallowed. Xiaoyan didn't even have time to turn his head. The violet cloud wings vibrated slightly, and his foot lightly stomped on a pillar of magma, shouting, "Explosive step." Following the sound, Xiaoyan's body suddenly arced like a drawn bow. A loud explosion rang out, and Xiaoyan's speed instantly surged. Using the acceleration from the explosive step, Xiaoyan narrowly escaped the mysterious creature's pursuit, simultaneously creating a considerable distance between them. Seeing its prey escape when it was within reach, the mysterious creature let out an angry roar. Its massive tail savagely slammed toward the magma. Countless rock pillars violently exploded and disintegrated. During the rock pillars' explosion, the mysterious creature didn't stop. Its tail, in contact with the rock pillars, viciously propelled it in pursuit of Xiaoyan. A tearing wind sound from behind made Xiaoyan's briefly relaxed nerves tighten again. His soul power poured out from his body, enveloping the area a few meters around him. Then, his body suddenly twisted eerily. Swish! Swish! A piece of rock, carrying a sharp sound, shot past his body, continuously flying just outside Xiaoyan's body. Xiaoyan's body dangerously evaded the continuous attack of the rock fragments. Each time the rock passed his body, the sharp force left small cuts on his skin. Thud! Thud! A few rock fragments flew past, continuously striking the rock pillars further behind, violently smashing them. Immediately, a rumbling explosion occurred, finally creating a deep crevice in the rock. From this, one could see how powerful the force carried by the magma fragments was. If Xiaoyan were hit, he would instantly lose his ability to fight, and fall into the magma lake to be incinerated. Looking at the crevice in the magma, sweat continuously streamed down Xiaoyan's forehead. If not for the specialized wooden stake formation Yao Lao had him practice in the magical beast mountain range, he would probably be buried here today. This creature can even use magma to attack. Its intelligence is clearly not low. It's truly a deadly foe. A thought flashed through his mind. Xiaoyan felt extremely troubled. At the same time, his foot stomped fiercely on a rock pillar. His speed surged again. Using the accelerated speed, Xiaoyan managed to turn his head with difficulty. He looked at the mysterious creature not far away and couldn't help but gasp in shock. The mysterious creature in the magma lake was a type of serpent magical beast. Its body was long, appearing to be about 4 or 5 zhang, 13-16 meters long. Its entire body was red. Looking from afar, it resembled a block of red jade. Its body was covered in fresh red scales. What startled Xiaoyan the most was that this magical beast had actually had 2 heads. Its eyes were filled with savage killing intent. What kind of magical beast is this? A sense of horror flashed in his mind. Xiaoyan suddenly noticed that the speed of the 2-headed serpent magical beast suddenly slowed down. Its neck naturally swelled up, as if preparing to spit out something. Looking at this strange scene, a sense of unease flashed in Xiaoyan's heart. He immediately vibrated his wings. Just as Xiaoyan's wings vibrated, the 2 wide mouths of the 2-headed serpent suddenly opened. 2 streams of magma fire, like a volcanic eruption, spewed out. Instantly, the 2 streams of fire viciously shot toward Xiaoyan. Thud. One stream of fire attacked about 2 meters below Xiaoyan. The extremely high heat contained within it clearly intended to incinerate Xiaoyan's legs in an instant. The burning sensation on his skin made Xiaoyan inhale sharply. Although one stream failed, the other streaked through the air like lightning, leaving a crimson trail mid-air. Carrying a destructive force, it fiercely shot toward Xiaoyan. In the distant tunnel, seeing the fire about to devour Xiaoyan, Xiaoding and Qinglin's faces were filled with terror. The temperature behind his back suddenly soared, instantly turning Xiaoyan's clothes behind him into ashes. His originally somewhat dark skin now appeared red. Damn it! The sudden melting heat on his back made Xiaoyan feel somewhat faint. His wings desperately flapped. He glanced backward from the corner of his eye and made a frightening discovery. The area a few meters around his body was already surrounded by the fire. In this short time, he fundamentally couldn't escape the fire's confinement. Master, if you don't intervene, I'm surely going to die. The destructive fire was close at hand, causing Xiaoyan's pupils to contract. However, he still roared at Yao Lao. The little fellow finally can't hold on anymore. Yao Lao's teasing, old voice and long laugh echoed in Xiaoyan's heart. As the old voice sounded, a peculiar energy suddenly flowed into the violet cloud wings behind Xiaoyan's body. Following a slight sound, the violet cloud wings suddenly turned completely purple, with a faint haze on the wings. The wings vibrated. A whooshing sound rang out. Xiaoyan's body almost pierced through the obstacles, darting out of the area engulfed by the fire like a small fish in water. The stream of magma fire, having missed its target, shot into the magma lake. Immediately, a rumbling sound rang out, shaking the entire underground cavern. The huge magma fell into the magma lake. Numerous columns of magma erupted violently from below the surface of the calm lake. Seeing such a terrifying sight, it was as if countless volcanoes were erupting beneath the magma lake simultaneously. Standing in the tunnel, Xiaoding's face turned pale with terror at the sight of the violent magma. He couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. In the face of this massive natural disaster, humans were truly insignificant. No wonder heavenly flames are so rare. To obtain a heavenly flame in this kind of absolute deadly place is fundamentally harder than ascending to the heavens, Xiao Ding muttered. While the two were slack-jawed, not far from the tunnel, a column of fire shot up from the magma lake, spraying in all directions, showcasing the power of world destruction. Looking at the magma splashing everywhere, Xiao Ding quickly pulled Qinglin back, narrowly avoiding the magma fragments shooting out. Little Yanzi, what about him? Where is he? Standing in the tunnel, the erupting magma almost obscured Xiao Ding's vision. His heart couldn't help but burn with anxiety. On the side, Qinglin's small face was pale. She was flustered, looking extremely terrified and worried. Just as the two were frantic with worry, a figure forcefully shot out from the magma lake. Looking at the figure emerging unharmed from the magma, Xiao Ding was surprised and overjoyed. He let out a sigh of relief. This person actually ignores the heat of the molten magma. Truly terrifying. The figure, covered in violet dough qi, darted out of the magma and into the tunnel. He braced his hand against the cave wall, constantly gasping for breath, his voice somewhat hoarse. Damn it. That guy is truly terrifying. Looking at Xiao Yan's clothes, which were almost completely burned off, his skin was red in patches, and his hair was somewhat scorched. He looked extremely disheveled. Are you all right? Looking at Xiao Yan constantly gasping for breath, Xiao Ding sighed in relief and quickly asked. Nodding with a wry smile, Xiao Yan leaned his back against the tunnel. His eyes looked down at the magma lake. Perhaps having suddenly lost its target, the two-headed serpent swam slowly in the magma lake. Its massive pupils continuously scanned the surroundings. Because the rock face blocked its view, its search was fruitless. It let out an angry roar, its tail constantly slapping the magma lake. What do we do now? With this two-headed fellow guarding the outside, we fundamentally can't go in. Seeing Xiao Yan sit down heavily, Xiao Ding asked with a wry smile. Xiao Yan lightly sighed. He put a qi recovery pill into his mouth, pondered for a moment, and said softly, no matter what, I absolutely must obtain the heavenly flame. I knew it would be difficult to obtain the heavenly flame, so I was mentally prepared. The current difficulty is still within my tolerance range. You still want to try? Look at the attack of that double-headed spirit serpent, Song Dao Lin Xa. It should be a fourth-tier magical beast, comparable to a human Do Ling powerhouse. Furthermore, in this magma-filled environment, even a Do Wang powerhouse would find it difficult to kill it. Hearing this, Xiao Ding raised his eyebrows and said in a deep voice. If this beast insists on blocking me, then I will kill it. Xiao Yan gave a soft laugh. A chilling killing intent flashed across his face. His eyes fixed intently on the double-headed spirit serpent in the magma lake. He slightly clenched his hand. His eyes slowly closed, and he gradually recovered the Do Qi in his body. Looking at Xiao Yan's unyielding demeanor, Xiao Ding also shook his head helplessly. Although he knew Xiao Yan hid many secrets, the probability of defeating the double-headed spirit serpent in this environment seemed very low. Leaning against the tunnel, Xiao Ding looked at the boiling magma lake, thinking about how to stop Xiao Yan. On the side, Qinglin also carefully sat cross-legged next to Xiao Yan. Her green pupils glanced at Xiao Yan's burned clothes. A look of fear couldn't help but surface in her eyes. While the three were silent, the turmoil in the magma lake once again quieted down. The double-headed spirit serpent scanned and searched, finally spotting the three people's figures in the tunnel. Immediately, a roar filled with excitement and bloodlust echoed sharply into the tunnel. The story you are reading is sourced from https://truienful.vn. Danger. It found us. Inside the tunnel, seeing the fierce gaze of the double-headed spirit serpent, Xiao Ding's expression slightly changed, and he cried out in alarm. No sooner had Xiaoding finished speaking than the two heads of the double-headed spirit serpent swayed violently. In an instant, a stream of magma shot straight toward the tunnel. Looking at its speed, it would surely be swallowed by the magma in a flash. The molten rock, like a fierce fire dragon, shot out, drawing a curve of death in the air, heading directly toward the tunnel. Just as Xiaoding prepared to grab Xiaoyan's hand and flee, Xiaoyan's closed eyes suddenly opened. His dark, deep, and ancient-looking pupils slowly surfaced. He calmly looked at the incoming fire stream. Xiaoyan's body slowly stood up. He flickered and appeared at the tunnel entrance. Looking at Xiaoyan's terrifying speed, Xiaoding's face slightly changed. His eyes stared intently at that back figure. A peculiar feeling arose in his heart. This feeling was as if the Xiaoyan before him was a complete stranger. The strange sensation in his heart made Xiaoding's eyebrows furrow. Although he felt a sense of wrongness, he couldn't quite pinpoint what was wrong. While Xiaoding was racking his brain behind him, Xiaoyan slowly raised his head. His two hands suddenly clenched. As Xiaoyan clenched his hands, a peculiar energy fluctuation emitted from his palms. In an instant, an energy shield suddenly formed outside the tunnel entrance. The shooting magma, just about 10 meters from the tunnel entrance, exploded without warning, scattering rock fragments everywhere. The scattering magma fragments fell from the air, finally covering the energy shield in a layer of red. The double-headed fire spirit serpent, Song Dao Hoa Lin Xa, usually grows in high temperatures, sustaining itself by swallowing molten rock. Its evolutionary potential is extremely vast. When newly born, it is barely a first-tier magical beast. With good fortune, it can evolve into a sixth-tier magical beast, comparable to a Do Huang. Powerhouse. TSK. The existence of this creature here truly suggests the whereabouts of a heavenly flame. Looking at the fire spirit serpent in the magma lake, Xiaoyan's faint laugh drifted out. Hiss. Seeing its attack blocked, a look of anger appeared in the fire spirit serpent's eyes. Its tail violently slammed toward Xiaoyan. The violet cloud wings on Xiaoyan's back suddenly vibrated. He abruptly shot out, easily evading the fire spirit serpent's attack. Boom. The huge tail viciously slammed into the cliff face. A violent sound rang out instantly. Cracks in the rock spread over 10 meters before gradually stopping. Floating midair, Xiaoyan lightly gripped the heavy Xian ruler on his back. He suddenly pulled it out. His foot moved slightly. He appeared almost instantly above the fire spirit serpent's head. He had almost come into close contact with the magma. If not for Yao Lao's timely intervention, Xiaoyan might have been knocked unconscious. The heavy Xian ruler in his hand, accompanied by the sound of wind and the formation of violet do qi, formed a brilliant arc. Thud. The heavy ruler, like a flash of lightning, gave the fire spirit serpent no chance to react and fiercely slammed onto its head. The rigid red scales actually shattered. Waves of red blood streamed out from the scale gaps, eventually vanishing into the magma lake. Hiss, hiss. With its head suddenly severely struck, the fire spirit serpent let out sharp roars. Its tail violently swung above its head. Xiaoyan's body dodged the tail with agility, although dangerously, still maintaining safety. The fire spirit serpent in the magma suddenly raised its two heads. Its blood-red pupils fixed ferociously on Xiaoyan, who was constantly dodging mid-air. Its two heads suddenly paused. A stream of fire suddenly shot out from its body. The fire gradually ascended, and after a moment, it enveloped a small area of the sky. The red flame spun in the air, with Xiaoyan at its center. Standing there, Xiaoyan slightly frowned. Looking at the huge surrounding flame, its heat was incomparable to the violet fire of the purple spirit-winged lion king. But because it was in this magma lake, its dark red, almost blood-colored hue seemed to even surpass the violet fire. "It's ready to attack, huh?" Sensing the increasing heat around him, Xiaoyan said with a soft laugh, "Little fellow, temporarily let me deal with it." Having almost destroyed half the tunnel, Xiao Ding and Qinglin looked on, dumbfounded. They couldn't help but gasp in shock. This level of battle was truly terrifying. Boom! The sky-filling flame suddenly began to spin rapidly, continuously resounding in the underground cavern. As the rotation intensified, the surrounding flame suddenly wriggled. 10 fire serpents, condensed from the fire spirit serpent's energy, formed. These 10 fire serpents were several dozen times smaller than the main body. Dozens of pupils stared intently at Xiaoyan's motionless position at the center. After spinning for a moment, a sudden, sharp sonic wave rang out, extremely deafening in the cavern. The sonic wave faded. The 10 flame serpents suddenly formed a battle formation. They then evaporated the air. The overwhelming heat fiercely attacked Xiaoyan's position. Over 10 flame serpents, each over 10 zhang long, attacked with flailing tails. The scene was truly magnificent. Naturally, behind this magnificence lay a deadly intention. Looking up at the 10 flame serpents converging from all directions, a faint smile appeared on Xiaoyan's face. His eyes slowly closed. Boom! A world-shaking explosion occurred as the 10 flame serpents collided at the center. The violent energy exploded, transforming into waves of energy that diffused outward, causing the magma lake, which had just calmed down, to violently erupt again. In the tunnel, Xiao Ding was stunned. Looking at the destructive scene caused by the magma, his face turned pale. This kind of power could almost destroy half of Mo City. He truly found it hard to imagine how Xiaoyan could withstand it. Although he had never witnessed the true strength of a Do Wang powerhouse, seeing this scene, he feared even a Do Wang wouldn't dare to withstand it. What exactly does this young man want to do? Leaning against the somewhat hot rock, Xiao Ding sat down heavily on the ground. Leader. Young master, he's still alive. Just as Xiao Ding's mind was reeling, Qinglin's joyful voice suddenly rang out beside his ear. Hearing this, Xiao Ding suddenly looked up. His eyes quickly moved toward the flame. He indeed found a vague figure in the diffusing energy. Chapter 196. Inside the gigantic underground cavity, layers of rock and flames filled the air. The atmosphere was permeated with poisonous gas. This place was almost a dead end for humans. As flames covered everything in the air, a figure of a young man slowly appeared. As the figure emerged, the surrounding fierce flames violently attacked his body. At this moment, the young man's figure was like a black hole. The surrounding flames frantically surged toward this body. Because of the frantic speed at which they entered his body, a huge swirling vortex of flames formed on the ground of the cavity. The center of this swirling aura was directed toward that figure. Greedily consuming them, the surrounding flames, which were overwhelmingly dark red, finally became increasingly dim. In the end, they were completely consumed into Xiaoyan's body. As the flames gradually disappeared, a figure was finally revealed in the center. Xiaoyan stood calmly in mid-air. When his body appeared, it was unexpectedly enveloped by a layer of white flame. The red flames were entirely consumed by this white flame. Not bad. It's been a long time since I encountered such nourishment. Xiaoyan stretched his tired back and smiled with narrowed eyes toward the twin-headed fire spirit snake. Hiss, looking at the flames he released, which were actually completely consumed by a human, the fire spirit snake's eyes widened greatly, and a trace of shock clearly flashed in them. It's over. Xiaoyan smiled and slowly spread his hand toward the fire spirit snake, then forcefully struck out. As Xiaoyan struck out, a fierce force violently lashed out, fiercely striking the fire spirit snake's body. The enormous force struck the outer body of the fire spirit snake, causing its outer scales to be shattered. Furthermore, driven by the force, the fire spirit snake's body was sent flying violently, falling into the lava lake. Hiss, hiss. Suddenly attacked, the fire spirit snake raised its head, letting out a ghastly, sharp cry. Its large eyes opened wide, filled with red. Its wide mouth continuously opened and closed, and surges of molten rock violently shot toward Xiaoyan. Looking at the countless pieces of rock shooting up from below, Xiaoyan slightly frowned. The white flame on his body became increasingly dense. Then, the two wings on his back flapped. He actually shot straight down toward the rock pillar. Sizzle, sizzle. Xiaoyan's body made no attempt to dodge. Choosing this posture, he dove down. All the rock pillars that touched Xiaoyan's body instantly turned into nothingness upon contact with the white flame. In the passage, Xiao Ding and Qing Lin looked at Xiaoyan's unstoppable momentum, shocked to the point of being numb. They could only stand outside, staring blankly at the figure of Xiaoyan. Almost like lightning, dodging more than 10 attacks from the rock pillars, Xiaoyan instantly appeared on the fire spirit snake's body. The black heavy ruler in his hand, enveloped by the white flame, fiercely struck the fire spirit snake's gigantic body. With every strike of the black heavy ruler, large patches of fire scales shattered. As Xiaoyan wildly struck downwards with the black heavy ruler, the attacks were effective against the fire spirit snake. The fire spirit snake's body continuously writhed, and mournful cries echoed throughout the entire underground cavity. The heavy ruler fiercely struck down. One more time. The fire spirit snake finally couldn't endure this kind of pain. Its body dove toward the lava lake and then, carrying its injured body, hid in the lava lake. Phew! Seeing the fire spirit snake choose to retreat, Xiaoyan breathed a sigh of relief. Although he could kill the fire spirit snake, he would have to use a dou skill of considerable power. At that time, it would likely draw the attention of the strong experts in the desert. One must know that this heavenly flame was a rare treasure of the heavens and earth. Even some reclusive strong experts would be unable to resist their greed. After all, the heavenly flame represented a force of destruction, and in this world, no one didn't desire this power. When the fire spirit snake retreated, the noise in the underground cavity gradually returned to normal. However, for caution, Xiaoyan still had no intention of searching for the traces of the heavenly flame. He stood in mid-air for about 10 minutes. After confirming that the fire spirit snake had truly retreated, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. He looked toward the passage. He waved his hand at the two people. Then, the two wings flapped. He began to slowly search the underground cavity. Why can't I find it? After repelling the fire spirit snake, Xiaoyan controlled his body himself. So he asked softly. Looking at the environment and energy here, and the presence of the fire spirit snake, the possibility of a heavenly flame being here is very high. Yao Lao replied with a chuckle. Hearing this, the heavily breathing Xiaoyan excitedly licked his lips. His gaze began to sweep across the lava lake. Anything unusual was carefully checked by him. After a moment, he disappointedly continued his search. You are reading the story taken from the .com. Searching for a long time, about half an hour, yet still finding nothing related to the heavenly flame. Xiaoyan's patience was wearing thin. Master, we've searched the underground cavity for over half an hour. How come we still haven't found the heavenly flame? Slowly looking around, Xiaoyan finally couldn't help but ask. Well, I'm not sure either. I've never been to this place before. Regarding this question, Yao Lao also helplessly shook his head. Hearing this, Xiaoyan smiled bitterly. He sighed and continued searching. At this moment, He suddenly heard Qing Lin's sharp cry coming from the passage. Hearing the sharp cry, Xiaoyan was startled. He quickly turned his head toward the passage. His eyes suddenly contracted. A distance away from the passage, the fire spirit snake, which had originally fled, suddenly emerged from the lava lake. Furthermore, it continuously swam quickly toward Qing Lin in the passage. Damn it! Looking at the fire spirit snake trying hard to swim toward the passage, Xiaoyan's expression was extremely ugly. He cursed angrily. Then he suddenly turned around. The two wings flapped. He desperately flew toward the passage. That treacherous beast! The sudden appearance of the fire spirit snake also caused Yao Lao to curse. A surge of pure energy entered Xiaoyan's body, then flowed into the purple cloud wings. His flying speed instantly skyrocketed. Xiaoyan flew violently. Because his flying speed was truly too frantic, the rock pillars below became a long blur. Although Xiaoyan was desperately rushing back to stop it, the distance was truly too far. Therefore, he could only watch helplessly as the fire spirit snake got closer and closer to the passage. The fire spirit snake let out a loud sound. It opened its ferocious wide mouth and slowly appeared outside the passage. Its bloodthirsty and savage eyes stared intently at Qing Lin and Xiao Ding standing in the passage. Run, Qing Lin! Seeing the fire spirit snake appear, Xiao Ding recovered his composure. He grabbed Qing Lin with one hand. His body tried to escape. Seeing the two people trying to escape, a hint of mockery and a cold smile flashed in the fire spirit snake's eyes. Its wide mouth opened wide. Its head tilted forcefully backward. A terrifying suction force suddenly appeared. Instantly, the two people's retreating figures were slowly pulled toward the fire spirit snake by this suction force. As the suction force reached its peak, the fire spirit snake's wide mouth erupted again, heavily slamming Xiao Ding and Qing Lin straight into the rock wall. Poof! Xiao Ding's body slammed into the rock wall, and fresh blood sprayed from his mouth. Qing Lin, thanks to Xiao Ding's body acting as a cushion, did not sustain any injuries. However, she saw the snake's head with a ferocious face approaching. Her small face turned pale with fear. Perhaps because Qing Lin had the bloodline of a snake person in her body, the fire spirit snake was somewhat interested in her. Its eyes looked at her. Its mouth opened wide, wildly surging toward the passage. Don't come closer. Looking at the snake's head getting closer, Qing Lin's face was pale and she continuously retreated backward. Hiss! Seeing the fire spirit snake's fresh red mouth slowly approaching, the foul odor from the fire spirit snake's mouth almost made Qing Lin faint. Inside the passage, Xiao Ding saw Qing Lin about to be swallowed by the fire spirit snake. He tried hard to rescue her, but he was temporarily incapacitated due to the fire spirit snake's suction force attack earlier. He could only watch helplessly as the fire spirit snake slowly approached Qing Lin. The fire spirit snake's tongue continuously licked Qing Lin's small hand. Its huge head suddenly and fiercely whipped backward. Seeing Xiaoyan quickly flying toward them, a hint of savagery flashed in its eyes. The soft tongue instantly became as stiff as steel, fiercely stabbing straight toward Qing Lin's chest. In the distance, Xiaoyan was flying toward them. Seeing the fire spirit snake's movement, his eyes couldn't help but contract. His face was filled with murderous intent. However, at this moment, with the fire spirit snake's clear, glistening, red eyes, and its continuously stabbing tongue, Qing Lin was terrified. Her throat suddenly let out a sharp cry. Carried by the sharp cry, the three tiny blue dots suddenly appeared in her blue-green eyes. The appearance of the three tiny blue dots at this moment was clearer than everything else. In fact, looking closely, one could discover that the three blue dots were shaped like three flowers. The sharp cry continued to soar high into the sky. And as Qing Lin's voice became increasingly high-pitched. The 3 tiny blue-green dots in her eyes instantly transformed into 3 small blue-green flowers. As the strange blue-green flowers appeared, a streak of nether light suddenly shot out from within. It shone directly onto the fire spirit snake's forehead. As the nether light shot out, shining onto the fire spirit snake's gigantic body, it suddenly stiffened. The fire spirit snake's eyes looked somewhat panicked, staring intently at the little girl. The strange nether light slowly moved on the fire spirit snake's body, finally stopping in the center of its head. The light stopped moving, then slowly shrunk. As the light shrunk, the light within became even more intense. The range of the nether light became smaller and smaller, finally shrinking to the size of a palm. And as the area of the nether light shrunk, the nether light fiercely shot the small blue-green flower straight into the center of the fire spirit snake's head. After the flower appeared, the nether light began to slowly dissipate. A moment later, the flower in Qinglin's eyes gradually vanished, and her eyes instantly returned to their original green color. After her eyes returned to normal, Qinglin's body trembled. Her eyelids finally closed, and she collapsed. After Qinglin collapsed, the fire spirit snake's gigantic body still stood frozen in place. Only the look in its eyes toward Qinglin was no longer ferocious, but replaced by a gentle gaze. "I'll kill you." Just as the fire spirit snake was stunned, Xiaoyan broke through the air and arrived. The pitch-black heavy ruler fiercely struck the fire spirit snake's body. Instantly, fresh blood and flesh flew everywhere. Hiss! Attacked once again, the fire spirit snake finally recovered its senses. Its gigantic body stared intently at Xiaoyan. However, as its eyes swept over the huge black heavy ruler, a hint of fear appeared in its eyes. Seeing Xiaoyan's angry face, it dove into the lava lake once again. Damn it! Looking at the fire spirit snake fleeing once more, Xiaoyan couldn't help but curse loudly. Then, the 2 wings flapped. He quickly appeared next to Qinglin. He hurriedly held her. His finger checked beneath her nose. Seeing that Qinglin was still breathing, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Taking a healing pill from his storage ring, Xiaoyan placed it in Qinglin's mouth. Only then did he carry her into the passage. Looking at the injured Xiao Ding smiling bitterly at him, Xiaoyan tossed him a pill. He asked, "How are you? Are you all right?" Cough. "No major injuries. I'll be fine after a rest." Taking the pill and putting it into his mouth, Xiao Ding finally said breathlessly with a bitter smile. Xiaoyan held Qinglin in his arms. He slowly sat down. He gently touched a bit of dust. He sighed, "What a pity. I didn't find the heavenly flame. Brother, you take Qinglin back first. I'll stay here and search for a bit longer. No need to worry. That beast will only run away when it sees me. Nothing here can harm me now." After sitting in contemplation for a long time, Xiaoyan tilted his head and said to Xiao Ding, "In that case, that's good. We are only hindering you here." Xiao Ding nodded helplessly. "But this underground cavity is so large. And there are flames everywhere. It won't be easy for you to find the heavenly flame." Xiao Ding sighed. But I can't stay here too long. Otherwise, if other strong experts sense the movement, that would be a major trouble." Xiaoyan said with a bitter chuckle. Hearing this, Xiao Ding also smiled bitterly and nodded. He was very clear about the lure of the heavenly flame to strong experts. Just as Xiaoyan was feeling helpless, Qinglin in his arms slowly woke up. Her small head shook. She looked up and saw that she was being held in Xiaoyan's arms. Her small face blushed. Her small hand gently rubbed her temple. She suddenly said softly, "Young master, Qinglin might know where the heavenly flame is." "Oh?" Hearing this, Xiao Yan and Xiao Ding were very startled. They said, "How do you know?" Her small mouth slightly chuckled. Qinglin suddenly struggled out of Xiao Yan's arms. She stood up slowly. She walked to the passage. Her hand covered her small mouth. She shouted, "Follow Qinglin." In the lava lake, the fire spirit snake's gigantic body suddenly slowly swam toward the passage. Seeing the fire spirit snake appear again, Xiao Yan was startled. He quickly stood up. He grabbed the black heavy ruler. He coldly looked at the approaching fire spirit snake. "Young master, don't hit it. It won't attack us." Seeing Xiao Yan's movement, Qinglin quickly grabbed his hand and said, "What happened?" His eyes stared intently at the fire spirit snake. Xiao Yan noticed that the fire spirit snake indeed had no intention of attacking. He couldn't help but be surprised and asked, "I'm not sure either." Qinglin slightly shook her head. She took 2 steps forward. Her green eyes stared intently at the fire spirit snake in front of her. She said in confusion, "I don't know why, but I seem to have established a kind of communication method with it. And I can sense its thoughts. TSK, 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 TSK. Well done, little fellow. I don't know whether your luck is bad or good. You keep running into all sorts of strange things. Last time was the calamitous poison body. This time is no less. You actually ran into the emerald snake 3-flower pupils." While Xiao Yan was confused, Yao Lao sighed endlessly. His voice rang out in Xiao Yan's heart. "Emerald snake 3-flower pupils. What is that?" The unfamiliar term caused Xiao Yan to ask back in surprise. How should I put it? This is a type of innate pupil. It only appears in the descendants of humans and snake people. If one possesses this kind of pupil, and skillfully masters the situation, they can cause others to hallucinate. Think about it. If, during a battle, you suddenly cause the opponent's mind to become confused, or even cause the opponent to kill their comrades, how would that feel? Yao Lao asked with a mischievous smile. That would indeed be very dangerous. Xiao Yan laughed dryly, wiping his cold sweat. Furthermore, this kind of pupil can be said to be the nemesis of all types of snake beasts. Because it has a kind of one-sided, compulsory communication. This is called compulsory communication. You can think of it as still having a mysterious contract. Yao Lao said with a chuckle, very clearly. This fire spirit snake in front of you was unlucky enough to be contracted by this little girl's emerald snake 3-flower pupils. Damn. Xiao Yan pursed his mouth and cursed. Then he lowered his head to look at Qinglin's small, shocked face. This girl now had a very formidable bodyguard. Ha ha. A Dou spirit level magical beast as a bodyguard. TSK TSK. He had never met anyone who had this level as a pet. Young master. It knows where the heavenly flame is. Qinglin pointed at the fire spirit snake and smiled at Xiao Yan, trying to take credit. It knows. Hearing this, Xiao Yan was stunned. He licked his lips. Where? Qinglin slightly closed her eyes for a moment. She slowly opened her eyes. Her gaze swept around. And finally she shyly pointed at the hot lava lake. She said timidly, "It says. It's down here." Hiss. This is a horse, not a snake. His eyes followed Qinglin's finger toward the hot lava lake. The corner of Xiao Yan's mouth slightly twitched. Under the lava lake. He hadn't thought the heavenly flame was hidden beneath the lava. But this place. Was he supposed to jump down alive and seek death? Ha ha, so that's it. No wonder I didn't sense the heavenly flame. It turns out it was covered by the lava. Yao Lao suddenly understood. His chuckle rang out in Xiaoyan's heart. Source: https://truyenful.vn. Master: how do I go down there? Hearing this, Xiaoyan rubbed his mouth. He continuously pointed at the waves of lava bubbles and asked with a dry laugh. Heh heh. To obtain the heavenly flame, it naturally won't be too easy. How about it? Do you dare to jump? Yao Lao asked with a calm smile. Swallowing a mouthful of saliva, Xiaoyan's eyes once again glanced toward the lava below. His throat slightly moved. His face was uncertain. Standing on the side, Qinglin looked at Xiaoyan's changing expression. She was also somewhat uneasy. She didn't dare to fully believe the fire spirit snake's information. If Xiaoyan truly encountered an accident when jumping down, then she would also have no choice but to die with him. Phew. After a long silence, Xiaoyan breathed out a sigh. He tilted his head and said softly to Qinglin, "Tell it to lead the way." Ah! Hearing Xiaoyan's words, Qinglin's delicate body slightly trembled. She had no choice but to slightly close her eyes, and gave the order to the fire spirit snake. Receiving Qinglin's order, a look of reluctance appeared in the fire spirit snake's eyes. However, under the compulsion of the contract, it had no choice but to let out a roar toward Xiaoyan. Then it plunged its head into the lava. Raising its large head, it looked at Xiaoyan, who was still standing motionless. A hint of mockery and provocation flashed in its eyes. Phew! Staring intently at the fire spirit snake jumping down, Xiaoyan sighed several times. His chest rapidly rose and fell for a moment. He suddenly closed his eyes. While Qinglin and Xiaoding were extremely terrified, he immediately leaped down into the lava. Looking at Xiaoyan jumping into the lava lake, Xiaoding and Qinglin's hearts instantly tightened in apprehension. Their eyes stared fixedly at the figure plunging down. The sound of molten rock rushed past his ears. The heart in Xiaoyan's chest continuously pounded, sounding very loud. The temperature became increasingly hot. The sounds from the outside gradually disappeared. Phew, phew. The clear sound of flowing water. The hearts of the three people in the underground cavity felt as if a spring had suddenly shot up. Chapter 198. Just as he was about to be swallowed by the magma fire in the lake, in that instant, a white flame suddenly surged out from within his body, enveloping Xiaoyan. Fu. Rock fragments were immediately pushed away from his body and scattered in all directions. Hearing the sound, Xiaoding and Qinglin turned their gazes toward the noise, but they couldn't see any figure. Where is he? Seeing the figure instantly disappear, Xiaoding couldn't help but turn and look at Qinglin. Ah! Qinglin took a step back, her small face pale as she looked at the motionless magma lake. Could the figure who jumped into the magma lake have been instantly reduced to ashes without even having time to let out a scream? Hiss! The cry of the fire spirit serpent suddenly came from the magma lake. Hearing this cry, a look of joy flashed across Qinglin's small face. Her eyes quickly moved toward the magma lake, where she saw a figure covered in a white flame emerge from the magma, raising a hand toward Xiaoding and Qinglin. Thank heavens! Fortunately, nothing happened. Seeing Xiaoyan casually defying the surrounding magma, Xiaoding finally let out a complete sigh of relief. His body felt drained. He lightly sat down on the ground, wiping the cold sweat from his forehead. Floating on the magma flow, Xiaoyan looked with surprise at the slowly moving magma streams. Bubbles slowly rose on the magma surface, then suddenly burst. Some magma splashed out, with a few pieces shooting straight toward Xiaoyan's face. However, in an instant, they were completely consumed by the white flame. Protected by the white flame outside his body, all external elements were pushed away. His body even felt a little cold. He couldn't feel the heat of the molten rock. He slowly lifted some magma with his hand, then allowed it to slowly flow down. Xiaoyan clicked his tongue in fear. Floating in magma like this truly made one's hair stand on end. If the white flame protecting him were to suddenly disappear, his fate would be. Thinking of an ant in a wok, Xiaoyan's face turned pale. Little fellow. Hurry up and go. Although I can use the bone-chilling flame, Kot Lin Lan Hoa, to protect you, it heavily drains my soul power. If I lose control, you will surely be consumed by the magma. Therefore, don't waste time. Before my soul power is depleted, you must leave the magma lake. Otherwise, your thought about an ant in a wok will become a reality. While Xiaoyan was exclaiming in fear, Yao Lao's chuckle sounded. Understood. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Xiaoyan nodded seriously. He turned to the fire spirit serpent and shouted with a laugh, "Big guy. Lead the way." Hearing Xiaoyan's voice, the fire spirit serpent completely ignored him. It pointed its big head toward the tunnel, waiting for Qing Lin's command. Only then did it reluctantly turn and swim down into the magma. Watching the fire spirit serpent swim in the magma lake, Xiaoyan breathed out a sigh of relief. He then once again entered the magma, staying close to the fire spirit serpent. Inside the magma, everything was a fiery color. However, with the bone-chilling flame supporting him, Xiaoyan could barely see the surroundings. He quickly propelled himself, continuously following the fire spirit serpent down into the magma lake. In the red world of magma, underground currents occasionally burst forth from unknown places. The splashing magma carried immense energy. If a person, even a great Dou master, were hit, they would surely be severely wounded. However, the fire spirit serpent was extremely familiar with this place. Even in the dark depths of the magma flow, it could find the correct path. Xiaoyan, following behind it, also used the opportunity to conveniently avoid the dangers. In this world of magma, there seemed to be no other creatures besides the fire spirit serpent. It was understandable, as the conditions for survival here were too harsh. If not for this unusual fire spirit serpent that survived by consuming molten rock, even a powerhouse of the purple spirit-winged Lion King's level probably couldn't live in this kind of place. Continuously descending the magma flow, which seemed to have no end, even Xiaoyan, with the protection of the bone-chilling flame, began to faintly feel the temperature increasing. Noticing this phenomenon, Xiaoyan involuntarily swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His lips trembled slightly. Swimming in the middle of the magma flow truly made it hard to imagine. What was the concept of swimming in magma? It was simply laying one's neck on the Grim Reaper's side, no different at all. The deeper they ventured into the underground cavern, the greater the consequences of any mistake. Even with Yao Lao's protection, it would be difficult for him to save Xiaoyan's life in an instant. Just as his heart was filled with terror, the fire spirit serpent ahead continued without stopping. It didn't turn back to see if Xiaoyan was keeping up, only focusing on diving deep into the cavern. In this place, all 5 senses were restricted. Xiaoyan didn't know how much time had passed. He only knew he was diving down intently like a machine. His body was starting to feel a bit numb. Little fellow, you must return in half an hour. Just as Xiaoyan's mind was about to become hazy, Yao Lao's serious voice rang out in his mind. Huh? What? Hearing this, Xiaoyan was stunned. He quickly asked, "What's wrong?" "The deeper we dive, look at the magma outside," Yao Lao said deeply. Hearing Yao Lao's words, Xiaoyan quickly looked up. His eyes instantly widened in horror. The fiery red color of the surrounding magma had, at some unknown point, turned green. What is happening? Seeing the slow flow rate, Xiaoyan asked in shock. This is a result of the sudden increase in temperature. The current temperature of the magma is already approaching the limits of my endurance. Yao Lao's voice held such gravity for the first time. Hearing this, the corner of Xiaoyan's mouth twitched slightly. Sweat poured down his forehead like rain. He said, "Impossible. The bone-chilling flame is ranked 11th on the heavenly flame ranking. Could the heavenly flame beneath us be stronger than Master's bone-chilling flame? It's not that. I am currently in a soul state. The bone-chilling flame cannot be fully utilized. Moreover, it is being released through your body. So its power is considerably diffused. The temperature pressure from the surrounding magma is also constantly increasing. Therefore, half an hour is the limit," Yao Lao explained. "All right. Hurry up and seize the time," Yao Lao urged, then fell silent, likely concentrating fully on urging the bone-chilling flame to prevent any mishap. Nodding with a wry smile, Xiaoyan looked at the green magma again, unable to help but shout, "How much further is it?" Xiaoyan knew this Douling-level unusual beast had sentience, so he wasn't worried that it wouldn't understand him. Xiaoyan's voice, carrying Dou Qi, penetrated the magma's resistance and reached the fire spirit serpent's ears. It casually roared a few times, then accelerated its diving speed. Damn it! Looking at the fire spirit serpent's movement, Xiaoyan couldn't help but curse. Hesitating for a moment, he fiercely gritted his teeth. His body, enveloped in the white flame, transformed into a streak of white light and rapidly dived down. His body pierced through the magma that had almost turned green. Xiaoyan's face was covered in sweat, which constantly flowed into his eyes. Although it stung a bit, Xiaoyan didn't dare to even blink, fearing he would be left far behind by the fire spirit serpent ahead. Damn it, how much longer do you intend to dive? Continuously. Following the fire spirit serpent down, even with the bone-chilling flame protecting him, Xiaoyan felt the temperature invading his body constantly increasing. 10 minutes. Damn it. If I don't find the heavenly flame in 10 minutes. His body constantly trembled. Xiaoyan clenched his trembling hands. His voice was already shaking slightly. A moment later. 8 minutes. The corner of Xiaoyan's mouth twitched slightly. He shouted in a deep voice. The fire spirit serpent ahead still ignored him, diving down desperately. 4 minutes. Xiaoyan's mouth was dry. He spoke once. Only 2 minutes left. Xiaoyan realized his mental state had never been as intense as today. Damn it. Go back. Stop searching. His eyes bloodshot, Xiaoyan's descending body suddenly stopped. Without any hesitation, he made a quick decision. He turned around, his face ashen, and swam toward the surface. Source: https://truyenful.vn. Just as Xiaoyan was turning, the fire spirit serpent's huge tail suddenly coiled around Xiaoyan's back. The tail, entirely made of flame, continuously dissolved upon contact with the white flame enveloping Xiaoyan. But the immense energy contained within it fiercely pulled Xiaoyan back. Damn it, is this beast playing games with me? As he was being dragged back by the fire spirit serpent, a surge of terrified realization flashed in Xiaoyan's mind. The thought had just appeared when he frantically flailed his limbs on the fire spirit serpent's body. His eyes suddenly stopped on a patch not far away, where a blue light was strongly radiating. The blue light enveloped a section of rock. Xiaoyan focused his mind and suddenly vaguely saw a blue lotus flower standing gently within the light. Green lotus core flame, Tan Lin Dia Tom Hoa. Just as Xiaoyan caught sight of the blue lotus flower, Yao Lao's joyful and astonished voice rang out in his heart. Green lotus core flame. Hearing Yao Lao's voice, Xiao Yan's mind instantly recalled the information related to the heavenly flame on the heavenly flame ranking. Green Lotus Core Flame, ranked 19th on the heavenly flame ranking. It lives deep within the Earth's core, undergoing countless forging, compression, and fusion by magma fire. 10 years to form a spirit. 100 years to take shape. 1,000 years to form a lotus. That is the time required for the formation of the green lotus core flame. This flower's firepower is immense. It often resides within volcano vents, capable of even triggering a volcano eruption. It possesses great destructive power. This piece of information rapidly flashed through his mind. Xiao Yan's face instantly showed a look of ecstatic joy. His body slightly vibrated, breaking free from the fire spirit serpent's tail. His eyes fixed intently on the rock block enveloped in light. Hiss! Beside him, the fire spirit serpent's wide mouth let out sharp roars. Xiao Yan turned to look and saw that this creature seemed somewhat fearful of the blue light. Its huge body trembled slightly. The story you are reading is sourced from https://truienful.vn. Ignoring the fire spirit serpent, Xiao Yan licked his lips. Excitedly, he said in his heart, "Master, we found it." It seems so. I never thought we would actually find the heavenly flame. Although the green lotus core flame is only ranked 19th, it is an excellent item for you right now. After all, the things I prepared for you were only sufficient to absorb a heavenly flame ranked 16th. Therefore, the green lotus core flame is just right for you. Yao Lao said with a joyous chuckle. A few years of effort had finally yielded some reward. Excitedly inhaling a breath, Xiao Yan couldn't wait and said, "Quickly go and take a look." Go and check. I will increase the protection. Xiao Yan nodded. He glanced at the fearful fire spirit serpent. He curled his lip. His foot stomped on the rock. His body, like a small fish, quickly swam toward the rock covered in light. His body drew closer and closer to the blue light. Xiao Yan vaguely felt the temperature subtly increasing. Biting his somewhat dry lips, Xiao Yan gritted his teeth. He took another step. His body leaped into the area enveloped by the light. His body entered the blue light. Contrary to his expectations, the temperature inside seemed to have significantly decreased. At this somewhat miraculous sight, Xiao Yan's face was surprised. After a moment, he regained his composure. His eyes quickly scanned the area, finally focusing on the blue lotus flower at the center. The blue lotus flower was divided into 8 petals, resembling a flawless piece of jade perfectly formed by nature. Looking at it, it was crystal clear, making one feel a loving reluctance to look away. Inside the lotus flower, there seemed to be a small lotus pedestal. The top of the pedestal had some small holes, emitting a faint luminescence. These were likely the lotus seeds condensed from the energy of the fire attribute. Below the blue lotus flower was a root about 10 meters long. Many small tendrils jutted out from the root. Swaying gently, Xiao Yan could clearly sense that they were in a state of greedy, frenzied absorption of the surrounding magma energy. The blue lotus floated there, amidst the boundless magma, like duckweed in a vast ocean. If not for the fire spirit serpent leading the way this time, with Xiao Yan's ability, he would surely have died. Finding a small blue lotus in such a vast space would be extremely difficult. Be careful. Don't let the root prick you. Otherwise, the dou qi in your body will be instantly sucked dry. Yao Lao's reminder caused Xiao Yan's intention to get closer to disappear. Let's go. Be careful. I see that this green lotus has clearly undergone over 1,000 years to condense the green lotus core flame, Yao Lao said with a chuckle. Understood. At this moment, Xiao Yan's body was trembling slightly. He crossed his hands, then swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His body slowly walked toward the green lotus. The closer he got to the green lotus, the more luxurious and magnificent it seemed to Xiaoyan. This kind of near perfection could only be created by time and nature. Carefully avoiding the protruding roots, Xiaoyan slowly walked up to the green lotus. His gaze swept over it excitedly. His body suddenly stiffened. Inside the green lotus, there was a fist-sized hole. But at this moment the hole was completely empty. Looking at the empty lotus core, Xiaoyan mumbled, "How is this possible? How can this be? With a green lotus like this, it should have the green lotus core flame long ago. How can it be empty?" Xiaoyan's mouth twitched slightly. He was silent for a moment. His face turned somewhat fierce as he looked at the green lotus. "Calm down. Snap out of it." Just as Xiaoyan was about to lose his mind, Yao Lao's shout rang out, like a tolling bell waking him. "Up! We will continue searching." "That's right, this is not the only place on the Douqi continent that has a heavenly flame," Yao Lao said to Xiaoyan, trying to comfort him. "But after such immense effort, are we returning empty-handed?" Xiaoyan fiercely shook his head, saying with unwillingness, "In this world, tens of thousands of people search for heavenly flames every day. And their diligent searching doesn't even lead them to encounter one. Your journey here is already making people envious," Yao Lao comforted softly. He turned his head to look at the empty green lotus. He also sighed softly in his heart. It was indeed hard not to be frustrated. He had thought the heavenly flame was within easy reach, but it had unexpectedly vanished into thin air. If his composure were any weaker, he might have been consumed by a surge of fire. What is this?" Carefully looking at the hovering lotus pedestal, Yao Lao suddenly exclaimed in surprise. The white flame condensed on his hand. Immediately, a ray of seven-colored light shot out from the lotus pedestal, finally landing in Yao Lao's hand. "What is this?" His spirits dampened. Xiaoyan turned his head. He looked at Yao Lao's hand and asked in surprise, "A scale?" In Yao Lao's palm was a seven-colored scale about half the size of a palm. It looked brilliant and dazzling. "This is a seven-colored snake scale." Yao Lao narrowed his eyes, and a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. "A seven-colored snake scale. I was wondering why the lotus flower didn't have the green lotus core flame. It turns out someone beat us to it." Yao Lao held the seven-colored snake scale out to Xiaoyan, and said with a cold laugh. Hastily receiving the scale, a cold wave emanated from it in his hand. Furthermore, a current of cold energy continuously seeped into his body. If not for Yao Lao's bone-chilling flame protecting him, Xiaoyan feared he wouldn't dare touch it. The owner of the scale took the green lotus core flame. Gripping the seven-colored scale, Xiaoyan frowned and asked. "The seven-colored snake scale. In the Tiger Desert. Only one person possesses it, and that is the snake people's queen Medusa, my Dutoa Nuvong. It seems the mysterious presence Qing Lin sensed earlier must have been Queen Medusa." Yao Lao said thoughtfully. "Alas, what can she do with it? Half a year has passed. The green lotus core flame must have been absorbed by her already." Seeing this, Xiaoyan said with a slightly defeated spirit, "You really are naive. Queen Medusa's body has the snake people's bloodline flowing through it. She is inherently cold attribute. Absorb a heavenly flame. Is she tired of living?" Hearing this, Yao Lao instantly reprimanded Xiaoyan. If her attribute counteracts the heavenly flame, then why would she seize the heavenly flame? Furthermore, according to Qing Lin, she was injured when she took the heavenly flame. Why would she exert herself for no reason? Xiaoyan asked with a wry smile. "Perhaps." Yao Lao pondered, "It seems we still have to venture deep into the Tiger Desert. I don't know what she intends to do, but I can tell you this, she absolutely couldn't have absorbed the heavenly flame. Who knows, we might still have a chance to obtain the heavenly flame. Go and find Queen Medusa to seize the heavenly flame. She is a Do Huang powerhouse. Even the renowned Ice Emperor of the Jia Ma Empire was defeated miserably by her. We go looking for her. Xiao Yan rubbed his forehead and said with a wry smile. Having a target is better than blindly wandering around searching all day. Furthermore, if it comes down to a fight, even though Queen Medusa's name is widely feared, it's not certain we would lose. Yao Lao curled his lip and said. Giving a wry smile, Xiao Yan sighed and nodded. He then turned his head. Hey, what are you doing? Seeing Xiao Yan's movement, Yao Lao asked with some surprise. Going back, ah. Do you expect me to stay here and eat molten rock? Xiao Yan replied angrily. You are truly foolish. Hearing this, Yao Lao was instantly infuriated. His hand fiercely slapped Xiao Yan's head. His finger pointed at the blue lotus flower and said, This heavenly treasure took 1,000 years to form. You truly are a prodigal son. Ah! His eyes widened in surprise. Xiao Yan turned to look at the blue lotus flower. He asked with confusion, What use is this thing? Hearing this, Yao Lao, who was spluttering, stroked his beard and said angrily, The green lotus pedestal, Tan Lin Dai, is condensed from extreme fire, Chihoa. It took 1,000 years to form. As long as you pluck it and use it, whenever you cultivate in the future, just sitting on it will boost your cultivation speed. I can't say 10 times, but it will increase by at least 3 or 4 times. Moreover, when facing an enemy, activating your Do Qi and releasing the earth fire within it will prevent even a Do Ling powerhouse from defeating you, and escaping will not be difficult. As for the lotus seeds in this pedestal, they are called Earth Fire Spirit Ganoderma, Lin Chi Diahoa. They are 100-year crystallization. If you go outside and loudly proclaim that you have Earth Fire Lotus seeds, I dare guarantee that a Do Huang powerhouse would risk their life to trade for them. Of course, that's not excluding those who would directly kill people to seize the treasure. If these items were to appear, they would shake the Jiama Empire. Yet you, prodigal son, don't want them. By this point, Yao Lao's anger had slightly subsided. Seeing Yao Lao talking with great passion, Xiao Yan's eyes grew brighter and brighter. As soon as he finished listening, his eyes widened, and he lunged toward the lotus pedestal. Damn it! This can be considered taking back some interest. Looking at Xiao Yan's expression toward the green lotus, Yao Lao helplessly shook his head. It seemed that this person had suffered quite a blow. Today, how could he directly cut the green lotus? Sighing, Yao Lao sent out a palm strike, and a surge of suction force pulled Xiao Yan's figure, which was next to the green lotus, back to his side. Idiot! Turning his head to look at Xiao Yan's blank expression, Yao Lao couldn't help but smile bitterly. His hand took a steel sword from the storage ring, and then pointed it toward the green lotus. Just as the steel sword was about to reach the green lotus, a surge of blue flame suddenly shot out from within the green lotus. The steel sword was instantly burned into a puddle of molten iron. Seeing this scene, cold sweat broke out on Xiao Yan's forehead. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and smiled bitterly toward Yao Lao. This green lotus is a rare treasure of the heavens and earth. If you want to cut it, you must use pure jade essence to be effective. Yao Lao said calmly. Then he took out more than 10 pure jade bottles from Xiao Yan's storage ring. A white flame appeared in his palm, melting the jade bottles into a mass of light green liquid. The liquid churned for a while, finally condensing into a slender jade ruler. Yao Lao carefully removed the impurities from the jade ruler. It looked very clear and translucent, resembling a beautiful petal of the green lotus. Use this jade ruler to cut the lotus flower and the root system. Due to the effect of the bone-chilling flame, the jade ruler was instantly cooled down. Yao Lao held it out and gave it to Xiaoyan. Taking the jade ruler into his hand, a feeling of gentle warmth was extremely comfortable. He couldn't help but smack his lips. His admiration for the heavenly flame increased by a few points. He tightly gripped the jade ruler. Only then did he carefully approach the green lotus. The parts of the green lotus were instantly peeled off perfectly like a work of art. As the green lotus fell, Yao Lao sent out a palm strike, quickly pulling it over. Then he made it float in front of him. His eyes slowly looked at it, his face showing awe. After removing the green lotus, Xiaoyan looked at the root system frantically consuming the lava energy. He licked his lips and said with a chuckle, "Master, this root system can absorb energy like this. It must also be a rare treasure of the heavens and earth. Should we also take it with us?" No, contrary to Xiaoyan's expectation, Yao Lao shook his head. Why?" Hearing this, Xiaoyan asked in surprise. "For a spiritual object that takes 1,000 years to form, it is best to leave a lifeline. Consider it doing a good deed for yourself. Although you obtained the green lotus this time, as long as you give it 1,000 years, it can grow a new green lotus. If you also take the root system, then the green lotus core flame will likely become extinct. It will be very difficult for it to form again." Yao Lao stared intently at the swaying root system and said with emotion, "In the alchemy world, if one destroys the root system when harvesting spiritual objects or spiritual medicine, it will definitely cause widespread anger. After all, the conditions for the spiritual object's growth are truly too harsh." Hearing Yao Lao's sigh, Xiaoyan was slightly stunned, then also nodded. He put the jade ruler into the storage ring. His eyes once again glanced at the long root system, then he turned back to Yao Lao, his eyes looking at the green lotus with desire. 1, 2, 3. There are a total of 11 earth flame lotus seeds inside. Ha ha. The quality is truly not bad, Counting the small luminous spots inside the green lotus, Yao Lao couldn't help but chuckle. That's strange. Why didn't the Medusa Queen take these treasures when she came to take the heavenly flame? Did she look down on them? Looking at the green lotus, Xiaoyan couldn't help but ask. I told you, although you used the jade ruler to easily remove the green lotus, if you wanted to forcibly cut it with other objects, it would be absolutely impossible. And this flaw she, being a non-alchemist, wouldn't know, right? Furthermore, when she took the heavenly flame, she was definitely seriously injured. Coupled with the oppression of the surrounding lava, she didn't have much time. Yao Lao said at length. He took out 11 small jade bottles from the storage ring, and carefully stored the 11 earth flame lotus seeds into the jade bottles. These must not be used in front of others, except during cultivation. Only use a small portion, to avoid attracting unnecessary trouble. Putting all the jade bottles into the storage ring, Yao Lao reminded Xiaoyan. Covering the storage ring, Xiaoyan swept his gaze around. He found that after the green lotus was removed from the root system, the surrounding light seemed to be shrinking. We should also go. Looking at the surrounding movement, the white flame enveloped Xiaoyan, and he said softly. Lightly nodding, Xiaoyan breathed a sigh of relief. His eyes looked at the root system. He licked his lips. He stomped his foot. His body quickly left the light, and rapidly swam away. Leaving the light, Xiaoyan waved at the fire spirit snake, and then began to swim out. Why haven't they come out yet? In the passage, Xiao Ding looked at the silent lava lake. A look of worry appeared in his heart. He paced back and forth, frowning. Group leader, don't worry. I received news that young master is on his way back, and didn't encounter any misfortune. Qinglin, on the side, her blue-green eyes sparkling, looked up at Xiaoding and said softly, "Is that so?" Hearing this, Xiaoding breathed a sigh of relief. He walked to the entrance of the passage. His eyes glanced at the burning hot lava lake, which was covered in bubbles. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. It was hard to imagine that Xiaoyan had actually jumped down. Alas, what a terrifying fellow. Plop plop. Before he could finish his thought, he heard sounds echoing from the cavity. Xiaoding quickly shifted his gaze to the lava lake. He only saw Xiaoyan, enveloped by a white flame, slowly appear in his sight. Whew! Breaking through the thick surface of the lava, Xiaoyan breathed a sigh of relief. He raised his head and looked at Xiaoding. His feet stepped on a rock pillar. His body shot up into the air. The two wings on his back trembled, and the purple cloud wings appeared. His figure gently flew toward the passage. His feet landed on the solid ground. The white flame on Xiaoyan's body slowly dissipated. The purple cloud wings let out a cry, and transformed into a tattoo that pressed against his back. "Are you all right?" Seeing Xiaoyan, Xiaoding quickly walked over and asked. "Ha, I'm all right." Shaking his head with a smile, Xiaoyan turned back. He looked at the huge lava lake, and couldn't help but quietly breathe a sigh of relief. "Did you get the item?" His eyes swept over Xiaoyan. Xiaoding asked with a chuckle, "No." The corner of his mouth slightly twitched. Xiaoyan said with a bitter smile, "Someone got there first." Eh? Hearing this, Xiaoding was stunned. He pondered for a moment and said softly, "Was it that mysterious aura's owner?" It was probably the Medusa Queen." Xiaoyan took out the 7-colored snake scales from his storage ring and showed them to Xiaoding, saying with a bitter smile, "Alas, 7-colored snake scales. It truly is her, ah." Looking at the 7-colored scales, Xiaoding's face also showed a bitter smile, and he sighed. Xiaoyan nodded, pursed his lips and said softly, "I already know the whereabouts of the heavenly flame. For the next plan, I will directly head deep into the Tager Desert. If there is a chance, I will try to take the heavenly flame back from the Medusa Queen." "What? You want to take the heavenly flame back from the Medusa Queen?" Hearing this, Xiaoding exclaimed in shock, his face changing drastically. Source of the story, Trillion Full. Around the Tager Desert, the formidable reputation of the Medusa Queen was absolutely no less than her beauty. Even in the nearby cities, just hearing the name of the Medusa Queen caused people to be scared out of their wits. Therefore, Xiaoding knew that Xiaoyan's ability was not small, but hearing that he wanted to provoke the Medusa Queen still felt somewhat unbelievable. After all, unlike Mo City's Sha Luo, the Medusa Queen was a super-strong expert, famous throughout the Jiama Empire. Thinking back to that year, the Empire wanted to send troops to suppress the Snake People tribe. They had invited 3 Do King's strong experts, yet one was killed, and the others returned heavily injured. From this, one could see that the formidable reputation of the Medusa Queen was not just for bragging. "Big brother, don't worry. I just want to try. If I fail, I am confident I can escape." Smiling toward Xiaoding, Xiaoyan said reassuringly, "You." Alas. Looking at Xiaoyan's resolute appearance, Xiaoding frowned, and only after a long while did he helplessly shake his head. "Ha, let's go, let's go. We'll go back and rest for a night today. Tomorrow I want to head to the Tager Desert." Waving his hand, Xiaoyan walked into the passage, and Xiaoding sighed and followed. Watching the two people turn away, Qinglin quickly whistled toward the lava lake. Instantly, the 2 heads of the fire spirit snake suddenly swelled. Its body quickly shrunk in an instant, then transformed into a streak of light and shot into Qinglin's sleeve. Her small hand curiously patted her sleeve. Qing Lin's small face showed a smile. She said softly, "Don't cause trouble, okay? Otherwise, if young master gets angry, I will bring you out and beat you." Hiss, a very small sound rang out. The sound carried a hint of dissatisfaction. It was probably the fire spirit snake feeling a little discontented with this master. Hee. Covering her small mouth and chuckling softly, she quickly chased after the two Xiaoyan brothers. The three figures gradually disappeared into the passage. Following the gradual departure of the three people, the huge lava lake in the underground cavity also slowly fell into an eternal slumber. Thank you for watching. If you found the story interesting and meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.